brothers.
Yeah, I don't. I'm Spotify. That's it. That's the only thing. I mean,
That one survived.
I have to pay. I'll pay for
You
that.
say you Pandora, Spotify,
Well, see, I used
Napster, all that bullshit.
once I
All that bullshit.
once I got on Spotify,
bullshit.
it was like done. I mean, I didn't say, you know what, because I was.
Well, that was as bad as the damn TV things with all the streaming channels, because you had the Apples or the Windows or the.
Yeah, you got to pick and choose. What are you going to pay for? You got
Yeah.
to pay for something.
Well,
What are you going to pay for?
I got my Spotify.
iFart Radio.
I don't pay for none of it. It's all ad for me.
See, I pay for.
See, I'm so glad that
I pay for Netflix
I do as well. I'm super
because
glad.
I like to chill.
That's the thing about, like, we have one of those Alexas, right? And I hate it now because
Yeah.
I'll be in the backyard and I'll tell her to play, 80s rock music. And it'll do like 2 or 3, 4 songs. And then there's this, 30 to 45 second ad. And it's like, it's annoying as shit.
Yeah. Mrs. Duane, she's like, we are not letting nobody listen in on us. All these little things that listen in on us, they're unplugged and thrown away. We had one of them robot vacuuming the houses, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it would map out your house. And I was like, fuck that. We're not letting something map out our house. It's going to be out there on the cloud
Disable
for
the
somebody to say,
Wi-Fi.
oh, okay, here's where this room is in
Yeah.
this house.
Never install the app, and it won't have a.
It won't work then.
Mine does.
Well,
I
all
I
right.
gimped all my Wi-Fi stuff on mine and
All right.
trashed the app.
Mine won't do
Wow,
anything.
that's fucked
You
up.
tell me.
I gimped
Is it the Roomba?
Yeah.
Well, you're going to have to tell me something because I don't know. It just maps out the house and I'm FUCK'd.
Took it out, shot it with a hammer.
Boom. Now it just
Boom.
sits there in the hallway, in the way.
Staring
In
at
the
you.
way.
Well,
I got too much livestock in the house. I gotta have something picking up pet.
Oh,
dander.
we use the vacuums. I got the 2 vacuums. But the vacuum / mopping, duster / mopper maps out the house and it stores that online. So we don't do that.
My wife's a borderline Luddite, so she doesn't understand that the phone rats you out just as much as the Alexas do,
Well,
if not more so.
yeah.
And I proved it to her. I was like, talk about stuff that you buy around your phone, and within an hour it'll be polluted my feed because we share the same wireless
yeah,
network.
no, that's all
Yeah.
true.
These
That's all
things,
true.
I mean, they're nice to have.
It's
but
a convenience,
the
but you
thing
have
is,
to balance it.
it's a dangerous item to have.
Well, okay, Eric Prince is developing his own Google type phone. Only it's he de-Googled his phone. It's an Android phone, but they've modified the version of Android so it doesn't rat out anything. My company, doesn't matter what your phone is, you're never getting to the content that if you're using my app, once you're done with it and turn it off, it doesn't exist anymore. So there are ways to get around it. Is that phone going to rat you out? Yeah, because it generates revenue for the service provider.
Right.
But that's not the only thing in your TVs. If it's a smart TV,
Oh, I know. That's the other thing is
your Samsung refrigerator, if it can dial out, because we had one at the house that was an Amazon Samsung phone, so you could tell the refrigerator, order food, and it would keep track of that stuff. You okay, buddy?
No, I'm listening. You're right. I got one of them.
Yeah, and that thing's terrible because they're always on. They're always listening. So Alexa, eat shit.
Yeah, the Siri. I forget what the Samsung thing is. Something with a B.
that's okay. So you're talking about eating.
Bing.
So you're talking about eating shit. Let's talk about food.
Ooh.
Let's talk about
Google, eat doo doo.
How much food do you need to save?
No, well, we talked about
What
that.
is your
before.
question? Yeah, we did talk about
we
it.
did.
Well,
We talked about that. So
The point is the difference. He prefers the bulk.
right, and then you talked about ration.
I prefer
versus-
what Mrs. Dwayne Reed tells me I need to prefer.
Well, so do I.
You do a good job of that. I have to
yeah,
tell you.
I got to listen to Mrs. Tommy too. But
So-
Yeah.
but my wife is not as versed at cooking as his wife is. So there's a difference in it. It makes
There's
sense.
a difference between, and then that's where the ration part comes into play.
Ration's nice, smooth, simple. Here, put this in your purse.
Heat the water up, and you're good.
And these are the things that are incredibly important. I mean, because if you're not a from scratch cooker, then you need to be able to acquire things
The dehydrated food,
that
the
are
prepackaged ration.
already all
Yeah.
together.
or be able to take, okay, I got a can of this, a can of that, a can of this. I put
Well,
it together,
taking a
cook
fu-
it, and I'm done.
It's real easy for us to say, yeah, you've got to have X amount of rice per person per year.
Yeah, you have the same
But
problem with
if
food that
you're
I
not-
have with ammunition.
Yeah, but if you're not going to, if you're going to be that person that doesn't cook rice, it doesn't matter how much rice you have, you're fucked.
I
Sure.
have
Right?
six months worth of rations that are not going to be affected by it. Actually, I've got freeze dried and prepackaged, and military grade.
But how hard is it to cook it and have a meal versus
Open
putting things
you
together?
just open it. It's an MRE. It's not
No,
a big deal.
exactly. That's what I'm
Well,
talking
and that's what he's
about.
getting at. It's like-
Versus having to go cook a pot of beans, cook some rice.
Yeah, I don't have
You
to
know.
have water in order to
to cook,
survive.
to do your meal.
Right.
You have
To
to
make
have
the
water.
Yeah,
I need to have water. So, but
this is what I'm talking about.
Right.
You need a different system than
Right.
say someone like me would need, because I mean I cook beans from scratch. I cook
well,
rice
you
from
have
scratch.
a more
I take
your solution holistically is a lot more sustainable and scalable because of how you've established what you're doing. Because you have chickens and bees, and you have sustainable on their own. They're going to make
we
eggs
are
on their own.
working towards that.
Well,
but
you
yes,
you know what I mean.
Yes,
As generally speaking.
yes,
So,
privately.
whereas
speaking.
you and I are
Privately,
majorly speaking,
Yeah,
allegedly.
yeah.
general, private, major, whatever rank in the military you want to talk about.
Right.
Well,
So even now,
I
the
think
only real benefit I have over you is the fact that if I have access to water and access to fish
Mm-hmm.
and access to aquatic fowl,
hmm
where you don't have that here. So,
He's got a whole big old ground full of water. What are you
well,
talking about?
that's true. You could.
I mean, I have that.
He's got storage. 20,000 gallons of water storage right
well,
there.
I
in
could
his
drink out of the pool
backyard.
too, but see, nothing but Hispanic females get in my pool, so it's filled with
Spicy.
spicy estrogen.
Spicy.
Or unless tequila may kill it all.
Make a margarita.
Yeah. So,
There you go. Well,
Anyway,
I know.
but I
Like,
digress.
I know. For me, it's like in terms of the food aspect, it's like having both the beans, rice, that you cook, and then having some instant, MRE type rations, because there's a time and place for both of that, especially for me. Because
Well-
if you're on the move and you're going someplace, then obviously you're not going to stop to make a pot of beans, and it's easier to do it in on the
Ration
move.
gives you an ability to be agile.
Correct. That's what
Now,
I'm getting at.
going back to my gun argument, the pocket gun gets you to the vehicle that has your carry gun, which gets you to the house that has your long gun.
Correct.
So the ration would get you to
To-
your next stop, to ultimately a stop like he has, which would be a base camp, which you would have the bulk foods. So
Allegedly.
Yeah, my
allegedly.
stop is the stop. I don't have to worry about those things because
Well, no.
I'm making my stand where I am. I don't have to worry about a bug out.
Well,
I don't
I'm-
have to worry about
Yeah.
anything other than, where I am. Whereas some individuals who need to get somewhere to be safe, you've got to worry about the things. You've got to worry about how the accessibility of your hole punchers,
Well, see, he's got
your
options.
weapons.
It's it's safer for him if he's going to bug out to go your direction.
Well, regardless of any of that, I'm just simply saying you're talking about having a weapon that can protect you to get to where your bigger weapon is, so that you can get to your bigger weapon, so that you can protect yourself till you get to the even bigger weapon. And I'm just simply saying that depending on your situation, you could be somebody like me to where you only have to worry about how many bigger the biggest weapon is right there handy.
So
how many do you have available wherever you're going to be? I got big weapons.
Here's the thing. It's like
out the house.
Well,
I can say
pre-staging stuff. Go ahead.
I can say like for me and Mrs. Johnny Ray, if the shit hits the fan, it's gonna okay. Eventually, I got to leave, but when do I do that? That's where this comes into play.
You're buying yourself
Yeah,
time.
absolutely. And that has been a conversation.
Right.
That's
When
where assess your situation and say, okay.
And then the other part of it is, there's probably, several different routes. I mean, there's 3 major routes to get from point A to point B. Now, there's multiple sub routes to take. All of those are going to be considered in your movement. And so, and it may take, what would be normally an hour drive, maybe an all-day drive. It may be a 2-day drive. You just don't know. So having the flexibility of being able to have the rations and being able to have, for us, and having the hard food, because if I got to go someplace and it's like, okay, I can't move for the next 3 or 4 days, dig in and just stay, and then time presents, opportunity presents itself, then move. And with that being said, I was talking with a guy a while back, and he does restores a lot of like a Deuce and a Half and old Army vehicles. He was an Army mechanic, retired Army, and we were talking about it, and I asked, I was saying how much does a Deuce and a Half normally cost? Because a Deuce and a Half can go pretty much anywhere. It's a big 6-wheel drive, massive piece of hardware.
Yeah.
And we were talking about it, and we got on this subject on the bug out, and he goes, and he alluded to the fact that he has his bug out vehicle, which is either a Deuce and a Half or a 5-ton, So, and he's got it all, and he goes, the best thing about that vehicle, because I've got my truck, but he goes, with you can go places that other cars can't, but if you've got a Deuce and a Half or a 5-ton,
You can go over the cars.
you can go over the cars, you can plow through the cars, you can get off the road and cut a lane. You can run over trees and keep going. And I was like, oh. So that's why when I sent that little link about like that 5-ton truck, it's like, this is what I want. Because that's what I was thinking about. I was like, oh my God, this would be.
Well, the 5-tons have a lot more electronics on them than the Deuce and a Half.
Deuce and a Half would be a better truck to get.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing. There's no electronics
It's
on it.
old school analog.
Yeah.
And you want something that can go over the other stuff.
Yeah. I mean, you can get it.
Throw that joke.
And I think I saw one of them that was for, I think you can get one that's good to go and that runs for like $7,000. And I was thinking if you actually made the the other thing he said, he goes, the thing about what's nice about this, he goes, it's an Army truck. And what does people do when they see an Army truck come flying down the road?
Get out of the way.
Yes. I was like, oh my God.
Unless they're zombies and then they get in the way.
Well,
Then they just want to eat.
They just
you.
explode when they hit your bumper.
They just want
Well, Deuce and a Half, it'd be fun to drive through a crowd of Antifa.
It'd be fun to drive through a crowd.
See,
of
now
anybody.
we just got killed. We'll probably
Now we're
the
not gonna
video-
be monetized.
We won't be monetized because you just, yeah.
We were monetized for a moment there.
Vaccines, abortions, Trump, blah, da, da, da.
So I know this episode's going to be after the fact.
The
you know,
fact?
after everything.
After his pregnancy.
Which fact?
The after the Israel conflict and man, I'll slap you, man. That's what's like. Be like teacher Dwayne.
Like
I was doing that earlier.
now you're just going to make that phone stink.
Hey, it's your microphone.
Hey, I brushed my teeth.
With what?
Nah, with a toothbrush.
No, because it's like this
And
episode.
dreams.
So this episode's going to come, you know, after all this is blown
It's
over.
going to
So we
come
don't-
after today.
Yeah, exactly. So we don't know what's happening tomorrow. But here's the
What
here-
if let's speculate?
Well, and the thing is like, you know, there's all this anti-American pro Hamas
Anti-Jew,
anti-Jew, and no, they're
anti-Semitic.
that, and they're pro
lumping us into
they're
with
pro
their buttons.
they're pro Hamas. So
Hummus.
that's anti.
Hummus.
Pro-Hummus.
They're pro Hamas.
Hummus.
So they're anti-American.
Yeah.
Which comes into the whole BLM, the
How
whole
many Americans did they-
Antifa. It's like, where do they stand? I think we already seen some of that, and it's like, what's happening tomorrow? What's going to be happening when this episode comes out?
Apparently, the Day of Rage is not panned out very well because that's today.
That's
And
today.
Yeah,
Have
there's
you heard
nothing-
anything?
No.
I don't know either.
So I mean, check it out later. But the thing is like,
The original Lois Lane, Phyllis Coates, is dead at what'd she die of? 96.
Age,
Yeah.
lack of breathing.
Hey, here's an interesting article we
Uh-oh.
just talked about. Texas power grid will be affected by the upcoming solar eclipse.
that's tomorrow.
Not at my house.
Starts tonight. Yeah.
No, it's tomorrow at noon.
My house won't be affected.
Around-
It was midnight. Okay.
My house will be just
It'll be
Mine won't.
it'll be tomorrow between 10 and noon, something like that.
Okay.
And then we have another one in April.
This is 6 hours old. San Antonio Police Department urges citizens to remain vigilant after Hamas leader calls for global day of rage.
Global Day of Rage.
Scared the fuck out of him.
You almost made me snot.
I was just singing the theme song.
Pop music. Pop,
Talk about
pop music.
New York, London, Paris, Munich. Everybody talk about
Pop music.
Talk about.
Pop music.
Talk about.
Pop music.
music.
Reed Brothers.